she is. Those beady eyes and red lips, perfect smile, perfect hips. Yeah, I keep my guard up. She always tears it down.
Hey guys, it's Ben here. Today I'm doing a very crude version of the ice jigger. To start off here, this is a 3 by 1 inch pine board, and I have it cut to about 20 inches long. Next thing you want to do is, this is a 1-inch piece of PVC pipe, and that's a miter box. And you cut that miter box, you want to cut that at a nice 45-degree angle, that 1-inch PVC. Whether you have a miter saw or you got to do it the old-fashioned way like I did. Here I'm just kind of skipping through things to save some time. Then you want to do the same thing with a 1-inch dowel rod. The 1-inch dowel rod is 3 to 4, the PVC is 7. Then once you get those two pieces cut, which is honestly the most pain in the butt part of this whole thing, I think, you just want to anchor your the dowel rod into your pine board. And as you can see here, I'm stumbling with all the stupid screws. I added some wood glue to it just to help hold it in place, but it's not necessary. And to make matters worse, I accidentally didn't come in at the right angle and I screwed it down to my table. So I had to end up backing it back out and putting it back in. Once you get that attached, the next thing comes along is your PVC. Once you put your PVC, I added some wood glue to it. You can epoxy this, or you can put a screw in it. You do not have to do both, because all that is going to do is just hold your rod in there, nothing more. This honestly is the easiest part to explain of how to make it. As you can see, I didn't epoxy it for the sake of time. I just threw a screw in it. Once you're done, once you finish that, it's good to go, and there's your rod holder. This next part here, I'm going to show you how to make the actual trigger device. First, you're going to take I want to say it's 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch fiberglass rod, and you want to cut it so it's about 4 to 4.5 inches long. Once you have it cut, you want to drill a hole through the center of it and affix a small dowel rod through it. Now, actual size of the dowel rod, I don't know. I super glued this to help hold it in place, but through whittling and shaping it, it's never going to move. Now, this is where things get a little tricky, because I cut this down here, but I don't have any more gator clips, so I have to revert to the system that I have made work. And as you can see here, I have the gator clamp crimped onto the dowel rod, added some super glue to it, and that essentially is your trigger. Once you get that part done, the next thing you want to do is line up your places for your eyelets. I have it about 1/4 inch off the end of the board, and you want to make sure that these are straight, that your eyelets are straight across. So as you can see here, I drew a line with the square, and I'm drilling 2 tap holes. Depending on what size fiberglass rod you use depends on the type of eyelets. These are closed eyelets. But once you go ahead and pre-drill your holes, you can go ahead and screw in your eyelets. Here I'm showing you how I beveled that edge. That edge needs to be beveled away from the center, because this in turn is your trigger. Honestly, I can't really explain how the best way to do it. I used a Dremel. You can use a rasp, but either or, it's all up to you. As you can see, or as you probably saw, there was a metal piece of clothes hanger glued to the other part. I use that for a hair trigger as far as on non-windy days, but on windy days, you just got to go with the straight trigger. As you can see, I show the beveled edge again. The one thing that I forget to show you guys, or I may not forget, but it doesn't show up very well, is the part of the black flexible O-rings. You want to fix them on either side. Here I'm just screwing in the eyelets, and it's easier if you put one side in, then slide the piece in, and then kind of move it out of the way, and then screw the other one in. At this point, this is where you want to fix your rubber O-rings. Now what those O-rings will do, it will keep that spindle from sliding back and forth and essentially causing too much torque. And once you get it in there, you add the little rubber O-ring, and as you can see, it moves freely back and forth, which is exactly what you want. Alright, the final part to this is the actual flag. This is a 3/4 inch dowel rod that I drilled 2 holes in. I just based the holes off of the size smaller dowel rod that I had. You have to be careful when you do this because every flag is different as far as flexibility. But when you go and drill into the pine board, as you can see there, I drilled 2 holes because the first one was too far back. You want to have a nice arch and a lot of nice tension to it. But you add the dowel rod to the back side of your 3/4 inch dowel rod, and that will act as a peg. I cut it off short just for ease of use. Then you go ahead and you stick your flag in the top, epoxy it, super glue it, and you're good to go. That's another DIY thing. Hope you guys like it. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.